We're talking about the divide between North and South. And as you were saying that, it really made me think about the way that people from the North that I've interacted with kind of, or not even just the North, but other states in the South have looked at me as a writer from Mississippi. Um, and also how I look at, the writers from my state, because I remember when I went to San Antonio 2 years ago for an event, and I'm still in the South technically, to some like Southwest, but I again got comments on my accent. Your accent's so charming. Thinking about things like that, and me being a writer from Mississippi in a different sort of culture, but that is like still very much grounded in place, because Texas obviously very much roots with Mexico, and how that's featured into the culture.
It's like a country to itself, Texas.
Yes, yes. So, but
I mean, it would like to be that too, I think. So,
kind of, that interaction and others I've had kind of got me thinking about my place as a writer, because I don't typically consider myself, a quote unquote Mississippi writer in the same sense of like Faulkner and Welty,
right.
Because like I feel like I can't touch them, but also I'm like, do I want to touch them?
You can touch them. Yeah, no.
I think about just the variety of what their writing was, and even like, because honestly, like growing up, I never really cared for Faulkner. And now with the press that I work at, there's so much Faulkner, so much Welty, and so it's kind of opened my eyes up to them, not even as writers, but as people, and like what their lives were like.
Yeah,
getting that kind of insider view in has been really interesting. And even the writers from Mississippi that I read more, they're not writing what you'd consider Southern literature. I'm thinking Donna Tartt, one author, Katie Simpson Smith, her novel, her most recent novel, The Everlasting, it takes place, I think, at 4 different time periods in Rome. It is very much what you'd think more of like a classical sort of piece. But kind of considering like how I can find their roots in their writing has been a lot of fun. But even last month, I was with my parents, and they were talking to one of their friends. And again, like my parents, I love them to pieces. They're very supportive of all that I do with my writing. And my mother was telling this woman about me having stories out, and her friend said, "Oh, well, that's unusual. You don't hear about that down here where we're from." And I was like, well, why not? I was like, why can't there be more people from, the middle of nowhere who are writing fiction, like in the backwoods of Mississippi? I know that Mississippi a lot of times is a very kind of polarizing topic. A coworker of mine said that her husband, who was from the North, was told that we didn't have paved roads. We didn't have air conditioning.
These kinds of myths still exist in people's minds. In this day and age, it's hard to believe, but I mean, there is that sense of we and them.
Yes.
The South being the other up here, and vice versa. And it is a weird thing to think of, that this is part of the fabric of the country that you live in.
Mm-hmm.